Okay, well, welcome to this last session of Canva for Education. And this session is all about what's new in Canva for helping you to plan next year. Those of you that have come to sessions this year already, with Tisha, we've got someone new this time. We've got the wonderful Megan, who's based in Sydney, who's going to give this session. And before I hand over to Megan, I will do the statement of acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge this land that we meet on today is the traditional lands for the Kaurna people and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the custodians of the Adelaide region and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna people today. We also pay our respect to the cultural authority of Aboriginal people visiting or attending from other areas of South Australia and Australia present here. And I think with that, Megan, I will stop sharing my screen and let you introduce yourself.
Fabulous. Thanks, Abigail. Warami, hello, welcome. I'm coming into you live from the land of the Darug people out in Sydney's fabulous west. Happy to be with you here today. Some of you may recognize me from former sessions when I used to work at Microsoft, but now working for Canva, and super excited to be sharing what's new in the land of Canva for the last month. We actually called October Edutober because we released so many great features for schools during October. So the slides that I share today are available for you. I'll share the link at the end, but you can also see it on screen, and I'll just pop it into the Teams chat as well. So you've got that there. You don't have to worry about taking 1,000 photos and writing everything down and figuring it all out. The slides will be available for you, and as Abigail mentioned, the session will be recorded as well. Feel free to pop some questions that you might have in the chat. Happy to answer those as I go. I have many screens happening here, so can multitask as I'm presenting. So yeah, without further ado, yeah, I'm going well so far. Let's get started. Love a good shortcut when presenting in Canva. If you haven't yet discovered them, just do a quick Google search for magic shortcuts in Canva, and there's certain keys like C, which will do all sorts of different prompts. Perhaps you've just nailed the conversation with your class. You can do a mic drop as well. So yeah, check out those magic shortcuts. They've actually been around for a while, but they're always fun to share. All right, so we have for quite some time at Canva been really good at, enabling content creation and making that really easy, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a student. Being able to create beautiful designs really easy is, where Canva started and where Canva continues to grow. But what we released in the last month or so has really started to focus on the teacher process, not just, teacher designs, but actually how can you set a task in Canva, find a task in Canva, customize it to be your own, then actually structure it into a lesson and share that with your students through your designated learning platform. And so I'm going to share with you some of the features that have been introduced in the last month that can facilitate that. I'll also, in the sort of second, or maybe I'm not sure if it'll be thirds or halves, but anyway, in the second part of this session, look at a whole heap of the Magic Studio tools that were introduced as well. So they are our AI tools, but everyone's using the word AI, which is starting to get boring. So we have used the word magic for our tools, which is much more better. So let's first of all have a look at that process of how you can access and adapt the learning resources and then deliver them as your own lesson from within Canva. So I'm actually going to exit the presentation while I do that. so that we can have a look at how that all flows. So let me just bring the Canva screen down here. I'm also going to switch over to a education account so that it makes more sense than being in my Canva account. So here's Canva. Hopefully a screen that is somewhat familiar to you. If it's not, jump on YouTube. The Canva Design School team have created a heap of really nice short tutorials for you to learn the basics of using Canva. You should also note the question mark down in the bottom right-hand corner of the Canva interface. It is AI driven. So if you wanted to ask a question around how do I make a presentation, just ask the question and the fabulous generative AI will give you instructions on how to do that. If you're actually in a design and you don't know how to, do a certain process or thing that I'm about to show, look for that question mark and ask the question. And make sure you mute your microphone. So I am going to sort of show that teacher process, right? So I'm a teacher, I'm looking for some resources, I'm exhausted, it's term 4, I've run out of ideas, I'm going to come to Canva and search the Canva library for some ideas. So over on the far left-hand side of the homepage, you can click on templates, and within templates, you can find literally hundreds of thousands of pre-designed content for you to use. There's all sorts of non-education based content, but we have dedicated education content as well. So when I click on education there on the far left, I'm now sort of in that sort of teacher space that allows me to search the whole library. And you'll notice that I can filter based on grade, subject, or resource type, all right? Like if you're like me and you love to browse these things, set aside a good hour of your time to go and explore because it's extensive and you can really get lost in the experience. But I will point out these ready to teach lessons. That is one of the features that dropped in October. So we worked with a number of organizations, a number of teacher creators to create these lessons. We've got a significant number of educators on our design team as well, who are also creating this content, both Australia-based, US, and other parts of the world as well. So let's have a look at what these lessons look like. I'll just scroll through somewhat quickly. You'll see they come from a large number of subject areas. If I click on See All, what you'll also notice is that beyond just the subject areas, if we move down, you've also got future skills. I really like these. This is where we've partnered up with organizations like NASA, like Justin Jones. That's not an organization, that sounds like a human. And you can see typography, right? I love typography. So here's a series of lessons on typography that you could set with your students. So if I clicked on the foundations of typography, for example, here's the first sort of series of lessons. And these are the components of that lesson. So I can see that there's a presentation, there's a video, another presentation, a worksheet for students to complete, another presentation, another activity, and then a presentation. So if I wanted to use this lesson, basically what it's doing is it's setting up a folder, right, with all that content in it, and then you share it. So this is what the structure sort of looks like. There it is, ready to go. If I wanted to use that out of the box, great. I would just click share. And I can share that with my class if I've set up a class within Canva. If you have learning management systems connected, you can also share directly to the learning management system. Alternatively, you can also click on copy the link and go and pop that into your Microsoft team or whatever however you might be sharing with students. So like most platforms, if there's the ability to share, there's usually 3 or 4 ways to share. But I'll come back and repeat that again when I build my own lesson in just a second. And then the way that looks when you do share it with the student, I can look at that as an open lesson. So I can see that learning pathway, I guess, on the left-hand side as I move through presentation through to video. And as I come over and start to, look and engage with that content, I can easily move.
Monotype, we make typefaces.
I thought that was someone talking. Through the call. If I need to go back to that series of lessons, just look for the menu, all right, the what's called hamburger menu. And obviously encourage your students to look for that menu as well to be able to then continue to move through the series of lessons. So yeah, if you can make it in Canva, it can be one of those lesson components. Great question about, are the lessons aligned with the Australian curriculum? We don't have a filter that allows you to search according to the Australian curriculum. Obviously, you know, any lesson resource, a teacher can go in and map that themselves to the Australian curriculum. But there are intentions to include a curriculum-based filter in the future within Canva. I just don't know what the timeline for that is. So yeah, that's just an out-of-the-box lesson. But let's have a look at that teacher workflow for creating your own lessons. So again, I'll go back to the beginning. Also know that you can just click the Canva icon to go back to this home screen at any point in time. So I'm going to click, go searching for some resources, right? So might find a bit of an informational resource first. So maybe I go into templates, go to education, maybe I search around based on grade, or I also have the ability to, you know, just search using the search capability. So maybe I'm going to look at, you know, a unit of work or a lesson on Japan. I might find, yeah, this presentation looks quite good. I might want to use that in my lesson. So I'll actually click on customize this template. And then I've got the ability, I can either apply all 10 pages at once, which I'm going to do, or you can pick and choose the pages that you want to use, and maybe you add some content in as well yourself. So I might duplicate a page and add some more stuff. So it's completely up to you how you then customize it, like any teaching resource, but that flexibility is definitely there. All right, so here's my country report on Japan. Maybe I actually give it, I'm actually naming it something specific. I think I had a year 8 class set up. Let's just call it year 8. And then I'll remember if I created the year 8 class last night at some point. So there's that one. Let's also go in and perhaps find an actual student activity as well. So again, maybe Japan, but this time I can write Japan activity. Where's the one I'm after? It's actually called All About Japan. Oh, there we go. So there is, you know, a simple sort of worksheet comprehension activity for Japan as well. Click on customize that one. Again, I've now got the ability to make that change and customize it if I want. Maybe there's, no, you know what? I'm just not going to make a change. But again, I will change the name of it. I'm a big fan of actually making sure the name of your designs is something that's easily searchable, because I'm very bad at folder management. So I love to name things correctly. So when I go back and search later, it's easy to find. But that's just me. And then let's also maybe do a bit of a reflection activity. So in this case, you know, I want students to think about, you know, what do they know? What do they want to know? And what have they learned about Japan? Typical KWL sort of chart. So honestly, there's so many of those in Canva, but I actually want to search the whiteboards. So there's so many whiteboards in Canva. I love Canva whiteboards. So let's look up KWL whiteboard. Was one this one? I really like this one. So again, customize this, but in this case, record what you are thinking about Japan in the boxes below. And let's also make that Japan name in the title. All right, so there's my 3 resources. Bit of a process to, not a process, but you know, I've done my usual teacher thing where I've gone and found some resources. Great. Now I actually want to create a lesson like we saw in the pre-baked lesson. So this,
Megan, sorry to interrupt. Just
right.
before you do, can you show us a tiny bit more slowly just how, once you found a design you want to use, how you customize it?
Oh, okay. So it's that question around if you don't get the customize button. So that's when you're looking for pre-built resources in templates. If you're accessing your own resources that you've made before, you're not going to get the customize button. So if I open up any resource, let's call it this one, I get the ability to customize this template because I'm grabbing a template that's been made, in this case by Freya. There's templates made by Canva people. You know, there's so many templates in Canva, it's not funny. So I can customize any of those pre-made templates. If you're actually just in your projects area and you're accessing something you built last week, then you're not going to get to customize this template because it's already yours. Does that make sense? I think that was Haley. I don't know if you can search designers. You can definitely follow designers. So if there's some really good educator content creators. If you jump into, if I just go into templates now and find one. So you can see that like these ones are made by Canva, but then there's some really cool edu designers as well. So clicking on one of their names allows me to follow that particular designer. And yes, are the whiteboards interactive with students? Absolutely they are. So I'm going to create that lesson, right? So I can go into my projects now. I always think of projects as the content that I've made or content that's been shared with me, and templates are things that have been made by others that I want to search and find and grab. So yeah, definitely think of projects as your stuff, templates as pre-designed stuff. So I'll go into projects and I can add a new lesson. All right. Now, if you've actually set up a class, all right, down the bottom, you'll see create a class in your environment. If you've created a class, that basically creates a folder. So there's two ways to create or pathways to create your lesson. I can just create a new lesson at the very top level, or I do have the ability to go into my year 8. Yeah, it was year 8. My year 8 class, which is a folder, all right? It's nothing too exciting. It's not like a Microsoft class team or Google Classroom. It's just a folder when you make a class in Canva. I can come in here and create a lesson. Oh no, I can't create a lesson. I take it back. So yeah, creating a lesson just takes place at the top part of all projects. My apologies. So I'll add a new lesson. And this is where I get the chance to build it. All right, so introduction to Japan. And I can add some new designs that I've created. So if I click on design, I can choose a design, and all of those resources that I was just grabbing before. There's the All About Japan one. I'll bring that over. Let me also, I don't want to create a new one. You can create a new one though. Let me also grab the other ones. The KWL whiteboard. And the other one was, I can actually search. Introduction, no, All About Japan. No, Introduction to Japan. Country report, that's what it was. All right, so I can move the order of those. Click and drag.
Sorry,
to move
Megan.
Oh, yep, question?
Do we get a copy of this video?
Yeah, absolutely. This is being recorded.
Okay, so you will send us a link out of this video?
Yep.
Thank you. Sorry, because I got cut off before, that's all.
No problem.
Thank you.
So yeah, those activities are then sorted according to, you know, the way I want to sort them, and then I'm able to share. So, you know, I have set up a class called 2023 8 Language 1. So if I just select that, automatically all of my students will have access to this particular lesson, and I can notify them. They'll get an email to say that that's been created, or I can untick that and click share folder. Now I've got the ability here to make it so that they can just view that content, or as someone mentioned with regards to whiteboards, if I actually wanted them to be able to interact with that whiteboard, I would change it to make it so that they can edit the resource. So yeah, they'll be able to actually change up, you know, everything within the lesson. Probably want them to be able to view for now.
Sorry, Megan, again. How many, can we add small groups, like small teams of students?
Yeah,
to work?
there's nothing stopping you.
How do
So
we add like a group of 5 kids per group so they don't mix up each other's templates or
So you
projects?
can either create a class, but for each group, that's not a problem. So you could create five classes that are actually just 5 group members, or I can share one by one here. So if I wanted to actually share with individual students, I could pop their names in there. It's no different to sharing from Microsoft or Google in regards to the sharing.
Okay.
And then, yeah, once that's shared, the students would have access to that, and you can also grab the link as well. So yeah, think of that, you know, lesson as a digital object that can be shared. And you've got the power to determine whether they can, yeah, edit or view the materials. So that's sort of that lesson workflow. I might just pop back to this version of Canva. If I just click on present really quickly. Oh, no, actually, because I'm going to be doing a lot of live demoing, I'm actually going to stay in this mode just for a second. So that workflow really did cover off, you know, the education library that was released in October, a lot of the new curricular content that's been added in, and the future skills lessons are in there as well. You've also got the ability to create your own lessons. The one thing I didn't look at was accessibility. So the accessibility function is now built in, or check accessibility is built into Canva. I can click on File, and then when I go to View Settings, the bottom option is to check design accessibility. So if I was to click that now, it's going to look at all of the content within this entire presentation and look at whether the typography is accessible, whether the color contrast is accessible, and whether alternative text has been included. As you can see, this is not very accessible. I would more than likely not, you know, publish and share it widely until I've made the document more, the file more accessible. So yeah, accessibility is now built in. All right. And just looking at some of those questions, Abigail has answered those as well. And yeah, Canva, South Australia Department for Education has what is called Canva for Districts. So it's like the enterprise version of Canva, in the same way that they have an agreement with Microsoft and Google. They also have done that with Canva. So the department actually manages all of the identities for Canva, including student access. So yeah, I'm sure Abigail can talk more to that. And she's also posted the risk assessment for Canva also. So thanks for that. But yes, 100% safe and managed by the department. All right, AI tools. We hear a lot about AI. It's been front and center for us since late December, early January, and everybody's jumping on board, Canva included. So what I wanted to share was some of the AI tools that have been integrated into the Canva experience to quite honestly make our lives easier. It is important to note that these are turned on for teachers only for now. The department does have the ability to go in and switch these services on for students if and when they've done their due diligence around student access to the Canva Magic Studio tools. So yeah, just do know that everything I'm about to show can be used by you, but not your students for now. All right, Magic Grab, simple tool. And yeah, in the same way that I guess making designs is being made simpler by Canva, editing is now being made simpler by Canva. So if I wanted to remove the balloon from this picture to put it into the space picture, perhaps for a creative writing prompt or something like that, I don't need to have epic Photoshop skills to be able to do this. Magic Grab now allows me to do that really easily. And after the fact, if you're accessing these slides, the instructions on how to do some of these things are included just here. But again, remember that question mark in the bottom right-hand corner, how do I use Magic Grab, is also there for you as well, right? You don't have to remember how to do everything. That question mark will remember everything for you, which is great. All right, so I'm going to grab the balloon and put it in the space picture simply by just clicking the picture itself. When that's selected, I'll be able to select edit photo, all right? If I don't have the photo selected, I don't see the edit photo picture, all right? Because I don't have a photo selected. So select my photo, click edit photo, and then I get a whole heap of Magic Studio tools. The one I'm looking at right now is Magic Grab. And what it's going to do is it's, it's figuring out what I do want to grab from that image, and it's determined that it's probably the balloon. This probably wouldn't work with a really complex picture, but with a simple picture, no problem. So now I can actually grab that balloon and put it over in the space picture really simply, all right? Beautiful editing. Nice and smooth, no weird jagged edges like I used to create when I was using Photoshop to do really bad editing. It's a really nice edit feature. So yeah, know that that's possible. The other one you can also do is is grab text. So if you actually had an image that had text in the image itself and you needed to be able to grab the text, you could also use the grab text feature in the same way, and it would extract that text really simply, so you could actually edit the text, which is great. All right, Magic Write tools. So this is sort of that generative AI using the large language models. So there's a couple of prompts here that I'm going to use, right? Perhaps, you are responsible for some of the social media posts in your school, whether you're a teacher or non-teaching staff member. And you've got to write yet again another post about parents not doing the right thing. You're a little bit angry about it, so you're not quite in the right mood for this sort of thing. And so you need to rewrite what you've written quite aggressively in a more formal way. So really easy to do. When you select text, you'll notice a Magic Write button pop up. All right. So when I just select that box, I see Magic Write. When I click on that, I get the ability to do all sorts of things with that text. So in this case, I'm going to make it more formal. Right, and you can see that instead of being, reflecting my current mood, it's made it a lot more formal, really simple. I can change that text quite easily. Perhaps same thing, you're tired after a long day in an excursion, really hard to motivate yourself to write something energetic. This time I can use Magic Write and make it more fun. So instead of the very boring sort of experience, suddenly it's a lot more energetic with that fun voice. And then expanding or continuing writing is another nice feature. So in this case, I'm actually going to change screens because it will add a lot in. Writing an announcement for the end of, school holidays beginning. If I actually pop that in here, make it a bit smaller because you'll see how quickly this expands. And in this case, I'm going to continue the writing. And it's pretty smart. We can, again, like all AI tools, you need to obviously give this a bit of an edit, update it according to your own wishes, and just make sure that it all makes sense. So, happy holidays, for example, is not my favorite term. I might change that to have a great break instead. All right. But I'm, pretty impressed with this. The other day, I actually didn't put in the location, so it gave me a bit of a more American sort of response. But making sure that your prompts are as detailed as possible means that you often get a really nice response. Or nice edit. So Magic Write simply made available by clicking on any text and clicking Magic Write. Right. Sprinkling fairy dust is an interesting one. Pretty much if you want your text to be written in ye olde times, sprinkle some fairy dust and that will yeah, that will give you, there we go, ye olde time type of language. So you can have some fun with that. Would be great for a Shakespeare unit. All right, so that's Magic Write. Play around with that. Definitely going to save you some time. I certainly think we need pirate speak. And oh yeah, brand voices and brand kits. Kim is a question that we will be addressing with the department as we look to manage that statewide. All right, Magic Morph. Again, editing is done really easily using some of these tools like Magic Morph. So in this case, it allows me to transform words or shapes with different patterns and textures. So I'm going to select this white star, and I want to change it to be a you know, milky lime matte balloon sort of experience. So in this case, I need to go over to the apps on the far left-hand side. There's lots of applications built into Canva, both Canva-based ones, but also external ones. So I'll search Magic Morph, and that's the option there. And I want to, yep, I've already selected it. And then I want to do a milky lime matte balloon. We generate that. Does Canva have the ability to translate information when posted on Dojo, as in Class Dojo? Canva has the ability to translate before posting into Class Dojo, I guess. Yeah, there is a translation tool built into Canva. So there's my fabulous milky lime matte balloon. Now I can actually make that my O for the wow in my design. Might get rid of the other one behind it. But yeah, that's one way to morph words or shapes. Then we also have Magic Expand. I like this one. Magic Expand allows you to expand an image. Again, if it's a really complex image, I don't know how it would go. But in this case, right, here's a student image. Let's make it a bit bigger. Maybe for some reason, you know, when you putting it into the design, it needs a bit more space at the top for whatever reason. So I can go again in this case and just select edit photo, and we have this Magic Expand. And I actually get the option of either pre-selecting a size. Maybe I want to change it to be, yeah, add that space at the top. I can either do that manually, or I can choose a pre-selected size. In this case, I'll just do it manually, and I click Magic Expand. And again, using generative AI, but instead of words, it's using pixels. It's going to expand that photo. So again, play around with some of your own images in Canva to see how this does expand for you. There we go. Wouldn't even know that that is not the original image up the top. It's obviously blurred, so it's a lot easier for the AI to make it look really seamless. I also like the boat one. Always does something different for me. Let me just bring it to the front so we can all see. So here is a square image. Maybe I actually want to extend it out to be more of a horizontal landscape sort of version. So again, make sure the image is selected, select edit photo, and then I can do Magic Expand. And let's make it a 4:3 ratio and click Magic Expand. So now I'm going to get that content either side. It does take a little bit of time, so yeah, expect a small wait, but again, that's just expanded it out, and I genuinely can't see any difference between my original photo and the new one. You do get 4 options to choose from, so I think we can see something extra has been added there, a little bit of a rock over there, a bit more sandbanky stuff. Oh, I don't like that one as much. The clouds didn't do the right thing, but everything else looks pretty good. So yeah, when I choose that one, I just select done, and I've now got that image to play around with. So yeah, check out a Magic Expand. I'll just Control-Z those back to the beginning. Magic Expand for expanding the content of your photos. All right, Another one is the ability to edit, and literally giving prompt-based instructions to Canva to change the image. So again, in this case, I'm going to select the photo and select edit photo, and magic edit is where I can give it a prompt. Again, this is, still early days with this technology. So I guess the more complex you are with your prompting, the less likely it might be to work. But I'm going to do something fairly simple. Basically, I want to change the texture of this bag. So I just have to select it. Sorry, mark over the object that I want to change. So good with the mouse these days. And then I click on continue. All right, so what do I want to do? Describe my edit. Change the backpack to a furry green fabric. All right, and I click generate. Again, I'm going to be prompted with 4 different options, and I get to choose which one. Oh, I didn't do the little back part of the backpack, but that's okay. That's my issue. I don't know how furry it is, but anyway. Oh, that's better. Sort of covered up the specifics of the backpack, though. I'm going to change it with that one. And so again, we click on done. And I've really quickly and easily changed both the color and the texture of that black backpack in the image. If I go back into edit photo, oops, sorry, edit photo. When you get to, let me just do something random, describe your edit, you can see there's different inspirations for you for what you might like to do. So yeah, click on learn more and you'll learn lots of different prompts for how you can edit your photos. So check those ones out. Usually I also get a question at that point about removing backgrounds. You wouldn't use Magic Edit for that. There is actually a dedicated background remover. Again, select the photo and there's a background remover. That's actually been in Canva for a while now. You select background remover and I suspect that's going to take away the background. Well, not suspect. I know it will take away the background. Not too bad with that stringy hair all over the place. I could now just use that as a backgroundless photo. So yeah, that's Magic Edit. All right, and then the final couple with the last few minutes remaining. Magic Switch, this one's great. Who's ever had a static PDF document sent to them and you're like, great teaching resource, but I want to change one thing. I want to change a bit of text. I want to change an image. I want to remove, something. I can see a few nods. Thank you for those people who turned on their cameras. Magic Switch allows you to turn any Canva content into another type of Canva design. So if you actually have a PDF, it's really simple to upload a PDF into Canva. So I can just click on upload, choose my file and bring it into the Canva environment, right? And then you can switch it. Or you might have, I think you can upload Word documents in there as well. And then, yeah, once it's in Canva, you can do the switching. So let me just quickly open up a couple of these designs. So I've got what have I got? A presentation, a whiteboard, and another presentation. So if I wanted to turn this presentation into a document, right, Magic Switch is up there. So it's where I can translate. Someone mentioned translation before, so I could translate this document and it will either translate on this particular design or you get the option to create a copy and it will translate the copy. So you've still got your English version. Or I can transform it into a document, which is what I'm going to do. You can also change the size and transform it into any other design type. But in this case, I'll transform it into a document. You get a few options, all right? If you might be responsible for summarizing the meeting minutes, maybe you want to change your meeting minutes into song lyrics or a poem. You could actually do that. And I highly recommend it because life's too short. But in this case, I'm just going to transform my presentation into a summary instead and change that into a summarized document. Obviously important to use like headings and things like that to help with this sort of AI. Otherwise, it could be a bit of a dog's breakfast, but the slides further along have heading, text, and images. It's a really simple sort of presentation. So the document transformation should be quite nice as well when it comes to a summary. In a second, I'm also going to... Oh, yep, question?
Excuse me, Megan, can we change and translate to another language as well?
Yep.
The text?
Yep. Sure can. So if I open this up as a document now, that's all text-based. Using...
I can change it to Greek or something?
Yep. So if I now have that available, actually, let me go back to the actual presentation. And again, use Magic Switch. I can translate, and there's the usual, there's 72 languages, I think it is. So if I now choose Greek, I can do it to all pages. I can do it to just some. And like I said, I get the option if I actually want to translate the existing design without creating a copy, but that's going to go over all of my English. So I'll untick that and translate it and create a separate copy that will be in Greek. And I'm going to assume that you're able to test the translation here as to how well that translation has come over.
Yep.
Ew.
But you've lost the imaging, the background image with it. So you could just grab...
yeah. So there's always some sort of got to
a few Greek words need to be changed.
Yeah. So it's still there as that feature to be able to both translate but also switch into another document type. So this one is a whiteboard. Yeah, no worries. Again, this is a whiteboard. Maybe you've used a whiteboard activity with your students. Maybe it's an end of term activity with all of your staff, and you're, determining what's happening. What went well, what didn't go well, what are the action items from the term just gone. Again, you can magic switch that. It's your responsibility to summarize what occurred in that document with the little post-it notes and everything. Again, we can do a summary. However, let's see what the summary of term 4 is as a song. And I can see Kim switched the COVID letter to staff into a song as well. I look forward to that being on YouTube in the next 2-3 days. So nice quick one there because it's a short whiteboard. I love it. I love AI for fun stuff as much as I love it for productive stuff. So yeah, check out the Magic Switch tool. The other really nice one I like is convert to a website. So here's just a resource that I grabbed from the Canva library.
Sorry, Megan, just before you go to that, we've just got a question about whether you can do multiple languages in the same document or whether it's translating it several times in different languages.
So it is it's not like word translations where you can select the text and translate. You can't translate selection. It is translating either a page or the entire document. So technically I could translate this page to one language and then go to the next page and translate to another language, but I couldn't do text within a single page in multiple languages. All right, so conscious of time, the other thing I was going to do is convert that into a website, but in the interest of time, I won't. But yeah, quickly, Magic Switch, I can convert that entire presentation into a web page as well, which is nice and handy. Final two, Magic Animate. So this one's super simple. When you create transitions and objects that you want to animate as you go from slide to slide, animating is really simple. It's just done, click on a page. Oh yeah, animate's up the top. Sorry. So here we've got a whole heap of text and objects and things like that. When I actually have the page selected, where's my animation tool gone? I promise you can animate it. Normally the animate tool is up the top and you click on animate and it all animates. I'm sure you will be able to look at that one. Classic demo gods, not on my side there. And the last one is Magic Design. Okay, again, using AI, but in this case, maybe you've searched through 800,000 templates and you actually can't find what you're looking for. actually ask Canva to do it for you. So in this case, I want a presentation on the water cycle, right? You have to put that type of design at the beginning. So I want a presentation on the water cycle. When I hit enter, let me switch back to an education again. I feel like that was my issue. When I search for a presentation, why is it not working? Anyway, I'll verbalize what happens. Normally what happens is it'll generate 4 types of designs up the top, 4 presentations on the water cycle. You could grab one and make it your own. It's completely unique because it's been generated by AI. For some reason, it's not working today, which is always good for demonstrations. But a couple of other examples that I'll, again, just verbalize instead. Social media posts. So you could say, you know, a Facebook post for X, Y, or Z. I think I had an example of a Facebook post to farewell students and parents. Or again, a presentation on how best to use Canva in a class with students. They're the sorts of prompts that you can put in. I just realized why I didn't do it because I had projects selected. Thank you. I just saw someone say it. Thank you, Jessica. Would you like a job? So I now hit enter. Oh, look at that. It worked. Magic designs up the top. And oh, I disappeared. It's really not liking me today. But yeah, make sure you've got that templates on the left-hand side selected. It appeared momentarily. And oh, there's technical issue on our end. Anyway, I feel like I should quit while I'm behind. Because that is everything I had to share with you today. Let me just pop this one up on the screen. So short link to get to the slides that I shared and QR code if you've got your phone handy to also go to those slides. I'll clean them up a little bit because I've obviously destroyed a few in my journey, but that will be cleaned up within a few minutes. Thanks, Kim. I aim to entertain. If I can't entertain myself, what's the point? Hopefully that's been helpful. Lots of ideas. Come back and look at them later. And like I said, make that question mark your friend because it does give you the ability to, literally say, help me with this. You know, how do I insert a picture? Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoy the rest of your term 4 and try not to work too hard.
Thanks so much, Megan. That was great. So we will send out a link to the recording once we upload that later in this week. But thanks everyone for coming along. We do have a Canva for Education team in Microsoft Teams as well. So I send out the link to that. So you're welcome to join that. And we're trying to get a bit of a community together so that everyone can help each other out with ideas as well. But thanks, Megan. That was fantastic.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
You too. Thank you, Megan. Bye. Everyone. Bye.